Hello and welcome back to the GameShow Global Esports Cup here on GameShow_D2EN with Justin versus Complexity game number 2. Already the effects of game number 1 are starting to show in the draft as Justin banned out the Wisp in the first stage. And that seems like almost a mandatory ban when you're playing up against Vlad, a 6k plus IO main. You really just don't want to mess with that guy.
Indeed. I mean, interestingly enough, Complexity are going to ban the Slardar. I figured they might even go for it themselves. We'll see if the Doom is left over in the pool. Complexity will definitely be happy to take that in the first pick. Other things, Queen of Pain, Shadow Fiend, Wind Ranger, Dazzle, all heroes they really like. So we'll see if any of those slip through. Yeah, they're going to grab the Queen of Pain for ping. And I mean, he's going to fare very well in this mid lane and more than likely won't need much support. Aside from them roaming for a kill. So Complexity getting still what they want despite the IO being removed.
Yeah, fair enough. Now for Justin's response to this Queen of Pain, I don't think it really changes their plans going into this draft much. Just pick a standard two-hero combo, like a Darkseer Winter Wyvern wouldn't be bad, or you know what, like Tusk Darkseer, also
Yeah.
acceptable. Tusk +1, really, and yeah, they'll go with that Tusk first. The second pick could be anything, really.
Yeah, I would like to see Tusk Dazzle from them. Queen of Pain pretty heavily relying on her burst, so Dazzle's Shallow Grave is nice against her. The Tusk Snowball into the Shadow Wave combo is pretty nice as well, and Vlad is a really adept Dazzle player, so I wouldn't mind Justin to pick that up this early. Maybe that means they have to put the Tusk in a core role to help kind of save the versatility of their draft, but we'll see what they end up comboing it with. It could go for one of these more aggressively natured heroes like the Spearbreaker or the Undying as well.
Yeah, for sure. Really not much to talk about the Tuscan Queen of Pain. They're just so generally good, and we see them
Mhm.
so much. There's not really any direct counter synergies, really. Tusk disables tend to be or too short duration to kill off the Queen of Pain by themselves, unless the Tusk is grossly overfarmed,
Yeah.
but is very good at opening up onto the Queen of Pain, especially if you get like a Blink Dagger or something like that. Then you just need somebody else to follow up, which will be coming later, probably in the third, fourth, and fifth picks for Justin. Or
Um,
right now, it's going to be Alina.
Yeah, Tusk-Lina combo pretty good, aggressive, and as you mentioned, that does kind of add that extra dimension to Tusk with having the chain disable to drop on top of the Walrus Punch and Snowball, which are very short duration. So this will be good early on. Lina can trade with the Queen of Pain mid lane as well if she ends up being in that core role, and Eul Scepter definitely guarantees a combo. Having that blink animation be pretty long. They're going to pick up the WW for themselves, though, as you alluded to earlier, being one of the stronger heroes that kind of ignored in that first draft, and Complexity will grab it here.
Oh, fair enough. Well, the next couple bans, we're going to start to see those aggressive offlane dual lane heroes banned out with the Undying, and now the Darkseer banned out by Justin. Spearbreaker, probably the only one left in the pool that they might consider banning, but there's so much still available. I'm not sure what the best ban is here for Complexity, or what the best ban is here for Justin. These openings are so open-ended.
Yeah. Uh, wouldn't mind seeing a gyrocopter alongside this opening from Justin once again. Definitely, as you mentioned, kind of admirably was able to pick up farm alongside all the occurrences on the map and pretty much the rest of his lineup was along with himself dying continuously. So that could be a really scary tri lane, Tuslane and Gyro. Still, a lot of pretty strong heroes left available. The Wind Ranger's pretty good against the Queen of Pain. Shackle being there. Cold Embrace not bad against WR, but already they have a plethora of magical damage available to them. They're going to pick up the Jug here, so Wyvern pretty good against Juggernaut. Curse to go through that Blade Fury. The Cold Embrace is good up against the right click and the Omni Slash. Jug can help to fight early though, and also has a little bit of sustain available to the push and just kind of scales throughout the game.
Yeah, not a bad pick for Justin, but definitely not without its weaknesses with that natural counter synergy with the Winter Wyvern. It's something Complexity can work around for sure. Juggernaut tends to be a little bit kiteable, especially when you have the Queen of Pain's natural mobility, and Complexity could end up trying to punish that, but I don't think they really have to respond too much to Justin's first three picks.
Yeah.
They have a nice mix of control, magic, and physical damage, but they don't necessarily excel at any single one thing.
Yeah, definitely seems like a Swiss Army knife type of lineup from Justin thus far. Be interesting to see if both these first two picks are in the support role at this point. Complexity will opt for their Dazzle here, so it's a bit of a defensively natured support duo, but as mentioned earlier, I'm pings more than fine most often without too much support presence in his mid lane, and Wyvern and Dazzle do have some pretty decent poke if they actually focus on doing so. So I don't mind the pickup from Complexity and just two heroes they're super comfortable with thus far.
And it also suits their playstyle. Complexity tend to take things a little bit slower and steady. They like these defensive support duos.
Hmm.
It's not uncommon to see them pick up like a Winter Wyvern Dazzle and then throw an Earthshaker in their offlane. Of course, it does make their early game very passive. They're very
Yeah.
comfortable making those early rotations and responding to the enemy team. Just being innately a very good team at making those rotations and saving their allies to be able to turn around a couple of ganks. But now for Justin, it's going to be the Wind Ranger bumping Lena into the support role.
Yeah, so definitely something I expected in the third pick as opposed to the fourth, but it ends up being there for them. Still, though, Justin, I mean, they're pretty reliant on their ultimates at this point, with Lena, Jug, and the Wind Ranger and the Gray for Dazzle, as well as the Cold Embrace being there for the Wyvern, should be able to maybe stall things out enough for Complexity to disengage and re-engage. And as you mentioned before, the mobility of the Queen of Pain is going to allow them to have quite a bit of abilities to extricate themselves from any danger. I mean, eventually Justin will have the chase once they pick up Blink Daggers on maybe their Wind Ranger, the Yule Scepter to come out at some point for the Lena. So Justin definitely have ways to deal with it, but yeah, Complexity really with their bread and butter here with the first three picks, and definitely not too worried thus far.
And when you are going into a draft, when you're against somebody that's, I'll just say, innately better skilled or more comfortable, you need to force them out of their normal style of play and go for
Yeah.
something crazy. Justin have an exceedingly standard lineup, and now with the Beastmaster for Complexity, it really feels like Justin aren't in a situation where they can force Complexity to do anything that they're not comfortable with.
Yeah, definitely want to kind of throw out some pocket picks. I mean, you go for the standard draft when you're up against an evenly matched team, and I mean the lanes are going to be really stable from Justin, but as you mentioned, Complexity can deal with a passive early game and look to hit their stride in that early mid game and look to snowball after, and definitely just takes a couple of core items from them. Aghanims going to be really nice against Justin's entire lineup here, barring perhaps a snowball dodge with the pure damage there. And Beastmaster just really needs an initiation item, and they should be able to find that pretty easily. Beastmaster may be a little bit worrisome for him over in the offlane, but they'll probably have a support there with him for at least the early bit. And Juggernaut being the melee carry, I mean, as long as he's able to stay out of range, keep his boar slow on that Juggernaut, he should be pretty survivable.
The defensive snowball really is that X factor for Justin. One of their best ways to deal with this initiation from Complexity. The
Mhm.
Winter's Curse from the Wyvern and the Beastmaster's Roar, both piercing the magic immunity and also just being super hard single target lockdown spells. That's really their only defensive play, but if it does work out for them, Justin might be able to turn around a couple of these fights. Now, to round out Justin's lineup, what do you think it's going to be? Tusk could be an offlaner or a support. What do you think it's better for Justin here?
Originally, I would have liked to see the Lena core, but I mean, Wind Ranger in the offlane is extremely rare and relevant or in recent times. So yeah, more than likely, we'll see that Tusk in a core role. Uh, yeah, I mean, I would like to see kind of Tusk bump down to support, just because there's so much innate physical resistance on Complexity side, and I feel like putting him in the core role maybe is a little bit, for that reason, unappealing. And they're actually going
Ooh.
for the Knicks here. So, I mean, you talked about them needing perhaps a pocket pick to round out their lineup, and this is definitely is something that's uncommon, if not a pocket pick.
Yeah, Nyx Assassin is going to have a fairly weak lane, though. Even though we don't know the third hero for Complexity's tri-lane, or at least I don't think we do, the Winter Wyvern and Dazzle, and naturally just with a lot of range poke onto the Nyx. He has the Spike Carapace, and it does have naturally high regen. It's just not enough for the
Hmm.
Nyx Assassin, I want to say. The plus side here is it is going to give Justin some hero to rotate around and set up kills here and there. I really am afraid for this Nick Assassin and now Complexity pick up the TA, so maybe it actually is going to be a Queen of Pain in the safe lane after all. It's, yeah, just probably not the style of pocket pick that they needed. I
Yeah.
don't think it's enough to solo kill the Dazzle and Winter Wyvern, just innately very defensive supports.
Yeah, and I mean, he'll be able to spam out Spike Carapace in lane and feel pretty safe as there is a bit of a lack of catch from the Radiant safe lane. But yeah, I don't know that he's necessarily going to gain a real egregious amount of momentum towards that mid game. As you mentioned, both the Dazzle and the Wyvern, and who probably will be close to one another more often than not. just really able to kind of resist those ganks, whereas most 4 and 5 positions are susceptible to the Nyx. So we'll see how they get going. But either way, Complexity to pick up the Radiant side here. They've already secured first place, guys. So hopefully they give us some clowniness. But over towards that offlane, Swindle's going to pick up his Beastmaster. And he will be accompanied at least by the rune by Z-Freak on the Dazzle. It's going to be Ping towards the bot lane on his TA, or towards the mid on his TA, I should say. Vlad going to pick up the Winter Wyvern. That's going to leave Zizzy on the Queen of Pain.
And for the Team Justin's side, on the dire side of the map, Crab is going to be playing on the Lina. Tusk will be handled by Uncle Panda, Aqua on the Wind Ranger, Chives on the Juggernaut, Nyx Assassin by the 6K and offlane player.
They do have a pretty potent safe lane, does Justin's side, and
For sure.
if they're able to get a snowball from Fog, they should more than likely be able to net a kill on this Beastmaster. Swindle's going to have to be pretty diligent about keeping that boar slow up for him. He does have that double boar out towards the rune, though, and yeah, he's not going to stick around too long. Blade Fury, pretty strong ability early on with the recent changes to it.
Yeah, he'll get a little bit of poke damage here, but it really is just a little bit. The boars early on are super impressive, but when you get higher levels, the Beastmaster's boars can be very annoying, especially if you can isolate the Lina. If the Tusk is out roaming somewhere else and Cook Crab is left alone, could go both ways, and accompanied by the Dazzle, getting that kill into Beastmaster could be difficult. That said, it is a possibility. It gets a lot easier, though, when Justin get level 2 and level 3. Their burst damage gets so much higher when you have access to both of Lina's spells and both the Tusk, Snowball, and Shards.
Yeah, so as we alluded to in the draft, Z-Freak is going to be up beside Swindles in this top lane, and should be able to trade decently, although Lina has quite a bit of range. With the board, they should be able to trade fairly decently. Definitely not going to really stymie the farm of the Juggernaut, but this Queen of Pain in the laning equivalent to that Jug is going to have no problem farming and even denying experience from the Nyx.
Yeah, I mean, Nyx Assassin isn't going to be 100% zoned out of the lane, at least not early. But still, he can't stop the Queen of Pain from doing whatever she wants down here. Mid lane, Templar Assassin versus Wind Ranger. Should be a fairly even matchup. Aqua's on the Wind Ranger this time around, and the Templar Assassin is getting a little bit more farm here as this lane pushes in. Pingvin is going to get a little bit more, but not by much. The real advantage for the Templar Assassin is that she can back up and farm stacks much more efficiently than the Wind Ranger.
It's actually a really good measuring stick of the skill levels of both teams. This is the exact opposite mid lane matchup from game 1.
Oh, top lane, the spin damage. They'll kill off the Dazzle. Z-Freak will fall and Swindles too. One more right click from the Lina as Justin striking this top lane. That helps out so much.
Yeah, it definitely does. And yeah, we can kind of touch upon the potency of this tri-lane early on. So I do like their decision to leave that Lina Tusk combo together. They're set up pretty well in Juggernaut with quite a bit of early game damage potential as well.
Yeah, and it strikes pretty much as prescribed, just when they get the level 2 available for all of those heroes, and maybe they're going to be able to replicate that again. If this Juggernaut gets stacked, that is a scary amount of damage for Complexity to deal with. Mid lane Aqua posting up very aggressively on the Pingvin. He does have the win run, so right now isn't going to die. Now is a little bit of help from the Tusk, but Templar Assassin also not really going to be too bothered. She doesn't even drop low.
Yeah, bottle can come out soon as well, and it's going to be ferried out to that mid lane for this Templar Assassin. So hopefully Swindles and Z-Freak can get things settled a bit. They're going to try and disrupt this pull, perhaps, with the boar. And they do have, yeah, they did get dewarded earlier. So we can see this, perhaps Lina rotate out of the lane and start to find a little bit more levels. The Winter Wyvern's already done so on the opposite side of the map, and going to pick up her level 2 soon.
Nyx Assassin down towards bottom lane is getting a lot of experience. Oh, top lane. Yeah, they are going to find initiation onto Swindles. Can't they lock him in place, though? He's going to casually walk around those ice shards. And now, turn for a little bit. Get Shella craved up. Light Strike will connect. Swindles looking for the TP. Looks like that's going to succeed. They just don't have another way to cancel it. He'll be in base. Although the Dazzle with the heal bomb kills off the Tusk. Z-Freak's going to get crit once by Juggernaut. Salving up. Z-Freak will survive. Nicely done.
Yeah, he doesn't want to walk up beside this creep wave either. I mean, level 2 Shadow Wave. Chasing forward, yeah, and he's going to find it. So, Chives, I mean, you got to take this outer route here up against Z-Freak, and the Dazzle already looking pretty good over in this off lane, looking like a good laning decision for Complexity.
Yeah, that's crazy. If it is able to get those max amount of targets. At this point, it's only 4 max targets, and granted, I think it was only 3 both times, but another one going to land on the Chives. It does so much physical burst, and at early game, physical burst is a little bit more potent. Maybe not against the Juggernaut, of course, but as a general rule, and Complexity are going to use that to get themselves on the board 2-2 and really doing well in these solo lanes. Or I say solo lane, the Winter Wyvern's down here as well, constantly pulling. But for the most part, it's just Queen of Pain versus Nyx. Oh, Vlad going to steal the haste rune away from the Nyx Assassin. Should be able to run away cleanly too. Nyx is incredibly hard to zone out. He has tangos, double mangoes, and then naturally high HP sustain. But without that haste rune, actually finding kills is almost impossible. It looks like he is going to try to stick around in bottom. Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I mean, he can soak up, and if he really needs to bail himself out, has the mangoes available. But yeah, as you mentioned, that innate really high base HP regeneration will keep him fine in lane. And this tri-lane has seemed to be broken up a bit after a little bit of a blunder there from both the Juggernaut and the Tusk. And Uncle Panda now going to rotate over to this mid lane. Their dire high ground ward is there, but I mean, TA's constantly rotating over to stack these Ancients, pushing the wave out with the side blades, and playing as a TA should at this point. So not going to leave herself more than likely in too vulnerable of a position.
Yeah, and really, it's so hard to actually kill her off. There's no great way, unless Wind Rangers had some free pokes here and there, to bring down those defensive refraction charges. And it feels like it's just going to be really hard for this Tusk to find any momentum, unless it is up in that top lane. And after just one failed game, a level 4 Dazzle and a level 4 Beastmaster gets so much more difficult to do so.
Yeah, so the roam is going to be towards that mid lane. Power Shot's actually going to miss. There was no defensive refraction charges left there for Penguin, so could have been in a little bit of trouble. Tusk will rotate around once again. The focus fire is still up. It's going to expire now, though. And with the rune coming soon, definitely don't want to see Aqua get too low.
Yep. Wind Ranger is going to deny pretty effectively, and it really feels like this mid lane matchup, at least in the early laning stage, is fairly even. In both the games, the Wind Ranger and the Templar Assassin have been playing pretty well. Down towards bottom, and Impale is going to be dropped, but the Sonic Wave kills off the Nyx. He's already expended that Carapace, so Zizzy's going to be just fine. Here comes Tusk, though. Zizzy might be in a little bit of trouble. The Tusk isn't going to go for it. Uncle Panda doesn't have enough mana for those Ice Shards.
Yeah, TPing in there, just not quite enough, and level 2 could have been close, but
double damage Dazzle. He's not going to be able to kill off the Wind Rangers, sure, but another Rune Steel coming out from Complexity, and level 5, this Dazzle's super happy.
Zizzy mid lane might find the Wind Ranger because of it. He's not going to blink forward, actually just has it on cooldown, trying to come there through that mid lane. It does deny the rune, though, and force the Windrunner back to base, so this is
Zizzy going to make his way all the way up towards top lane, I wonder? This Queen of Pain's gone for a really roundabout rotation. This will free up some space, but yeah, I mean, you're already most of the way there. With the Beastmaster and the Dazzle, maybe you're able to find this kill, although it is a bit of an awkward time to go for this gank. The Lena's spot out by the ward. They'll throw the Shadow Strike, Scream, Queen of Pain's going to blink away from Light Strike, and one auto attack. Zizzy finds an easy kill, although he does tank a couple of creeps on the way out. This Queen of Pain is at the top of the CS chart and has 2 kills to her name. Super happy Queen. The Winter Wyvern bottom lane, Vlad in a lot of trouble. The Nyx Assassin and Tusk snowball forward, even with the heal from Zfrig, not going to be enough to save the Winter Wyvern's life.
Yes, they will find themselves a kill there. Not the biggest kill, albeit, but one nonetheless, and Zizzy able to cut the wave, but we'll have to TP back to base now, so gives a little bit of space elsewhere for the Tusk and Nyx to get something done. And they will start to force in this top tower with a couple of the summons, though. However, Dazzle not here, so Swindles needs to be a little careful and is very close to his pivotal level 6 mark, which he's going to want to pick up desperately here and start to rotate around and make things happen with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I'm not sure how desperate he really is. It's a pretty nice early game for the Beastmaster. Finding your ultimate about level 8 is where you'd expect an offlaner to be. Still, this early game is looking a lot closer than game number 1 for Justin. The advantage for Complexity is not nearly as high, and a lot of that comes down to the fact that in game number 1 we had 3 courier snipes. Aqua at mid is going to be slowed down by the traps, so Windrun is available. I don't think Aqua dies here solo, picks up the haste rune. With it, there is no killing potential from the TA.
Yeah, Psionic Trap.
Bottom lane, the Nyx Assassin is going to drop the Carapace defensively. The Beastmaster top is going to die simultaneously, but just with the right clicks, look at the Nyx. Both offlaners are going to die in pretty close proximity to each other.
Yeah, somewhat of a convenient death in a sense for Swindles, though. As he picks up the Primal Roar, we'll be able to TP to a lane and look to set up a gank. Vlad mid lane is in trouble, and we'll have to pop the Cold Embrace in front of the Focus Fire. The Arctic Burn is there with the tower shots in. Going to force Aqua to fire off that Windrun. While Penguin is going to farm up these Ancients to the side.
Yeah, and this is where Templar Assassin really starts to pick up an advantage. The Ancients were only a triple stack. The Dire Observer was there, but Beastmaster top is going to get walled in with the spin. They'll be able to bring him down, or will they? One more auto attack. The will be able to get that original kill, but now Chive's in a lot of trouble, taking tower shots. They'll kill off the healing ward, and it's a double kill for Zizzy. Not worth that aggressive dive to lose your safe laner like that.
I mean, Z-Freak has been everywhere across the map, and unfortunately wasn't able to save Vlad bottom lane, but he still has been wherever there is action on this map.
Oh, Impale mid, they'll blow up the Winter Wyvern, but now Cook Crab is going to get blinked on by Zizzy. Not a lot of mana on this Queen of Pain. After using the blink aggressively, you do need to play very carefully. Attempted shackle. Close call, but the Queen of Pain is going to be able to back off. It's amazing to me that Zizzy's able to maintain the last hit advantage over the Juggernaut while still moving so liberally throughout the map.
Yeah, 4-on-1 thus far. Pretty good KDA. Felt like it should have had a little bit more farm. Has felt pretty influential. Does have that first full Oblivion staff up and coming out now as well. Z-Freak, I mean, this Dazzle is level 8, 10 minutes in. Standing up in lane with an offensive weave up onto Chives right now, pushing into this tower.
Yeah, and a defensive one himself. There's nothing the Juggernaut can do about this, and he probably will be able to get the tower deny, but the Beastmaster's around the corner too, and if Beastmaster gets a couple of his summons on top of the Juggernaut, he might be able to burst him down with the heal. But comparing the levels of the Dazzle and Beastmaster is actually hilarious. Level 8 Dazzle, level 6 Beastmaster. You're not sad to be a level 6 Beastmaster at this point, but this is effectively a core Dazzle with the amount of farm and levels that he's getting. He's not that far behind the Juggernaut, actually.
Yeah, Pingvin finding a lot of farm. Power shot bot lane is going to scout the Wyvern, and the shards will block him off from being able to make it into the tree. So Vlad going to fall for the third time in this one, but still, Complexity are finding tons across the map, and they can trade for this tier 1 bot lane even earlier than theirs is going to fall, if at all, in their bot lane with the glyph up.
Yep. Tier 1 tower is going to drop. Looks like they'll give that CS to the Queen of Pain. She's going to get a really fast Orchid. In this game, that's just not something that Justin have any defensive play against, or a way to stop, really. The Tier 1 tower in the bottom lane is going to take a little bit of damage, or a lot of bit of damage, rather, but still defendable by Complexity. With the Winter's Curse on Uncle Panda, here comes Queen of Pain with the Scream, and the Tusk is going to die very quickly. Turns for the Ice Shards. They'll invis up on the Nyx Assassin, but with the Sentry on the ground, Nyx will also fall. Z-Freak's on a killing spree, and Templar Assassin will be able to get that last hit on the secondary kill with the meld. They don't even get that tier 1. It's not in deny range, so at least there's that, but Templar Assassin has their blink. The Orchid's going to be done, as we talked about earlier. Beastmaster's also going to be working towards his Necrobook, and everything's coming online for Complexity, whereas Justin, individually, they're doing fine in these lanes. It's just that they're able to... They can't put together this fairly even early game into good fights. Excuse me.
Yeah, and that's going to result into that tier 1 being eliminated from the map bot lane, which makes this freshly placed ward kind of moot at this point. Would have been able to set up a couple of things in that bottom lane, as they did leave the Wyvern there a couple of times, and she was susceptible to a gank. But now with that extra bit of map control, Complexity looking really good, and can make it into the Roche pit at some point. They do have the TA on their side as well as the Boar Slow, so they're pretty decent at this point, but probably going to look to continue to assert their advantage here, and Aqua will have to force the win run away. When this Orchid comes out, as you mentioned earlier, it seems like Aqua has made it away barely with the win run a couple of times, so going to be really nice against the Wind Ranger.
Yeah, and everybody else from Justin, there's just not a single hero that's going to be able to survive against Queen of Pain's raw amount of burst with the advantage that she's picking up. And Templar Assassin's pretty quietly been farming all through the meantime, has that Blink Dagger and is ready to fight now, even though she's only gotten that one kill in the Nyx. Uncle Panda is going to take a lot of damage from this Arctic Burn, and this Tusk in a lot of trouble. They're going to try to look for the TP out. They'll blink in. They'll be able to kill him off without even expending a Meld Strike. I think they missed that a little bit. Regardless, they can't save his life, and now mid lane. Focus hard into Swindles. Laguna Blade thrown, but the Beastmaster's still pretty healthy. Sustained up by Z-Freak. Blink and Meld Strike. Insta-gib on the Wind Ranger.
Yeah, Ping has gotten a little bit too much space early on and picks up the early blink as opposed to that Deso, but we'll have the Deso close to having it here, only away. That Mithril Hammer still has enough for that recipe, along with the first one picked up. Chive's top lane has yet to really be active aside from in the laning stage, and is maybe stalking Zizzy here, but the Queen of Pain has more than enough for a blink.
Yeah, I mean, really, the Queen of Pain is under no real danger there against just the Jug. If there's maybe a Walrus punch there from the Tusk, maybe they'll be able to kill her off, or a Nyx Assassin, but 1v1, Queen Pain has that on lockdown.
Mid lane, TP in is a little bit far forward from Aqua, but most of the Complexity will back out now, not looking over to feed over an advantage 13 minutes in under a tier 2.
I think they want to jump into Aqua. They're going to throw the axes. Blink in, Meld Strike. She already used the Wind Run to try and stop those annoying boars, and it's going to go down.
Yeah, and they're just really starting to form a semblance of map control here. Mid lane, they're, I mean, balling up. When your support Dazzle is level 9, then you're definitely
Oh, Nyx
more
Assassin
than
gonna
well
jump
equipped to
onto the
fight.
Queen of Pain. She doesn't have mana for a blink out, just shy of the damage for that one. As Templar Assassin's going for more. Walrus Punch is gonna be thrown, but absorbed. They'll throw a couple more shots his way. The Tusk is going to evade. Winter's Curse, roar onto Cooked Crab. The Lina lands the Light Strike, but the Meld Strike will kill her off. And now Chives in the middle of the entire enemy team. The physical damage is too much. And the Juggernaut is going to fall under his tier 3 tower. They're not going to stop at all. The Impale doesn't quite reach. And the melee Necron unit kills off the Tusk. Not like this. 3 heroes hit the deck, and Complexity are just fine.
Yeah, and they can take this tower. The roar will be pretty much off cooldown, but by the time the Justin is ready to fight once again, and Aqua is a bit far forward here. I mean, they don't have the Winter's Curse available, but we'll get caught with that Psionic Trap, and the Arctic Run is there. Shackle not going to latch as well. Aqua already half her HP down. Z-Freak just right-clicking away into this Wyvern. We'll get hit with the LSA, the Impale, the Laguna Blade, and the Slave, and they do finally bring down the dominating Dazzle at that point. So it's a bit of gold fed over to the Lina, but they end up finding that tier 2 in the mid lane. In the meantime, Desolator comes out, and the Orchid is ready just after this camp for Zizzy.
Look at Dazzle's farm compared to the Juggernaut. He's only like 20 gold behind. He almost has drums done on the Dazzle. It's ridiculous. And Complexity, if you don't go for the Blink Dagger on Templar Assassin, you're super happy with this Desolator timing. It's really good, and all of this comes down to just the control they have on the map. They're taking towers systematically. Complexity aren't even posturing that aggressively. They're just, well, until now, of course. The Templar Assassin's got to jump into Chives. Can't quite get this kill alone. They'll stun up Pingvin. They'll get the stomp from the Centaur. Holding her in place, the Omni Slash is thrown, but she has another defensive charge. Search for the Meld Strike, kills off the Juggernaut. Cooked Crab also might go down. No, they will be able to bring down that Templar Assassin. Now, 1-for-1 as TA gets a little over-aggressive. Nyx Assassin gets 800 gold.
Yeah, not exactly the hero you want to have that gold.
I mean, he is saving up for Blink.
Yeah, he does.
It's going to put him very close to it.
Yeah, he's actually very close. So it'll be nice for the counter initiation, especially up against the Queen of Pain. But still, I don't know that it's really going to help you. I feel like Justin have to delay this out quite a bit. And with the TA feeding over the one death, but the Queen of Pain and her still looking very good. It's going to be even hard pressed to find a top lane. They find the Shackle onto Z-Freak. He's going to be able to get the Grave off here, and actually has a haste rune. They're
he
going
wanted to turn. That was the aggressive move from the Dazzle with the haste rune. Yes, a heal bomb. Not going to throw it out. Now the Beastmaster in a bit of a pickle. The Impale after the Lagoon Blade power shot, and they won't be able to bring him down. Z-Freak's haste rune's worn off. Beastmaster's going to kill off the Lina with the summons that were remaining. The melee Necro unit's still there. Sonic Wave over the top. Scream. They'll kill off the Dyer's Courier with it, and Aqua's ticking down. The Shadow Strike might be lethal. Winter's Curse onto the Nyx Assassin, holding him in place, and they get the Beastmaster, but they're going to have to pay dearly for it. 3 heroes hit the deck, and the rest of Justin's lineup just can't do anything about it. 18-10. This is looking closer than game 1, but not by much.
Yeah, they do get the deny off on the Wind Ranger, which is nice, but only losing Swindles there early on. It was an unfortunate placement of the shards as well, forced Z-Freak to go behind them, and he wasn't able to get in close when the units came in for the big heal bomb. As you mentioned, the snowball was there just in time from Uncle Panda. But even when you have kind of a favorable opening like that for the Dire side, you end up losing 3 for 1 and get a deny, but your second to last outer tier tower eliminated from the map as well, 17 minutes in, and you don't even have one tower to speak of on the other side. So, I mean, it's showing in terms of the metrics, and even after a little bump in the road, over a 10k net worth lead and about 7,500 experience for Complexity.
And that advantage really is what's allowing Complexity to take these fights, even if they start in a bit of an awkward fashion for them. Just having like that Necrobook 2 on the Beastmaster, being able to kill off the Lina, or having that extra HP on the Dazzle, and in general now they're going to move into the Roshan pit, taking a major objective for their team. Justin around the corner, and they might be able to scout this out, but their smoke's not going to pop. The Ice Shards are going to spot that Roshan's being done. They bash Pingvin. He has a Dazzle behind him, though. This is so very hard for them to be able to take. The Wind Ranger is going to look for a Shackle, latches to Swindle's summons, and Swindle is going to be Laguna Bladed down after the Focus Fire. Nyx Assassin inside the pit. Templar Assassin picks up the Aegis and picks up a Tusk Kill to boot. They're kiting this Nyx Assassin pretty well, and Z-Freak has a heal. I don't think this Nyx can get the Dazzle or even get close. And now the Juggernaut is going to be pursued. Templar Assassin can't be stopped. Chives is going to spin. That doesn't save you from Desolator shots. Another right click after the blinking. Killing spree for Pingvin. Now going into the base. There is no help for this Wind Ranger. She pops her Wind Run. The Winter's Curse is going to be there after the Wind Run, so Aqua isn't going to die immediately, but that's not going to save his life. Eventually will go down.
Yeah, Splinter Blast, a Blink Meld Strike, and I mean, you're deep inside the enemy base in 18 minutes, and yeah, no real need for them to dive any deeper because all the heroes are dead for Justin's side. So they'll take the last outer tier tower. They have the extra life on their Templar Assassin, who not only seems extremely potent but also unkillable at this point. And they haven't even gotten great roars off in these fights. It feels like Swindle's been focused down early. So, I mean, if you get any of these targets locked down and a couple right clicks come out, then the Winter's Curse on top of that. I mean, if Cole even get a great engagement, it's going to be over within moments. And yeah, things looking quite out of reach at this point for Justin's side.
Yeah, they just don't have a great high ground defense lineup. It's similar to the last game. Right now, the current meta is very partial to these instant burst kills where both of the teams are trying to get aggressive. And when you fall behind, when you're going with a lineup like this, your Wind Ranger can't find solo pickoffs, and even with accompaniment, can't really find very many picks. The next Assassin's going to Vendetta to kill Hawk, but that's about as aggressive as he can get.
Any key items? Yeah, it doesn't seem like too much is coming out for the Dire side altogether. They do have that blink, as you mentioned, on the Nyx Assassin, and they will have a Yule soon onto Cook Crab. And yeah, she's actually going to pick it up now, so perhaps someone gets a little bit too far forward and they find a clean pick or two and are slowly able to claw back into this one. Speaking of pick, they're going to 3-man smoke up, and they will run into Swindles once again in this top lane. They're going to have to Vendetta up, though, and it being nighttime, they don't quite get eyes on him, unfortunately, so not going to net them a kill just yet, and they guessed the wrong way.
Yeah, they'll throw Ice Shards too if they're paying a lot of attention. That Queen of Pain illusion has taken Ice Shards damage, and Dazzle's going to ping it out that, hey, this illusion was supposed to be at near full, and that gank's not going to be successful. Sometimes nighttime completely messes you up when you're going for those aggressive rotations, and that's what Justin have to do to try and come back to this game. It's just little too late, as everybody has what they want for Complexity. They'll look for a Shackle bottom lane, not going to latch to any heroes, as Complexity are going to siege high ground. They have the Necrobook 3, they have the Desolator. At this point in the game, these items are the best you can ask for when going for high ground. Templar Assassin has a Sacred Relic, because why not?
Yeah, and they're playing fairly safe too, Complexity side. As you mentioned, they tend to do. The Shackle will latch onto the boar and ping them, but they won't be able to dive that deep behind enemy lines, especially with a Dazzle on the other side. There will be the blink forward, a Meld Strike, 2 right clicks, dead lean, and the Snowball is going to come back through with the Walrus Punch, but recall she has Aegis, the Winter's Curse, and the Roar come out simultaneously. Well, anti-synergy there, but a 3-man Sonic Wave, and the Scream is there as well. 4 heroes down, the Nyx Assassin, the only one left standing, and they don't really even need to
Templar Assassin, can you buy your Divine? Go, 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 go! Divine Rapier complete, as GG is called by Justin. Another convincing win. Complexity really just looking solid across the day. A quick 2-0 victory in their favor.
Yeah, they're going to play as well. Coming up, they got another match at around 18D, so check your tickers for that, guys. For Game Show for today, we are going to be complete, but quite a few pretty important matches coming up. 16 CET tomorrow. I got a BO3 in SEA, and we got the big Hellraisers versus Vega matchup coming up 20 CET tomorrow as well.
Congratulations, Complexity. First in their group. We'll have to see how they fare against... who are they going to be playing? It's going to be Void Boys. And that best of 3, which will be coming later down the line. I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be scheduled. I'm sure they're working that out now. So we'll see that in the future. Thanks for tuning in to the Game Show channel on Azubu, and we'll hope to see you later for those very exciting games that are coming around the next couple of days. See you there.
GG, guys.